We are taught that the age of kings, lords, and serfs ended centuries ago with the rise of democracy and the Industrial Revolution. We are told that we are the freest generation to ever walk the earth. But if you are so free, why does it feel like you are running on a treadmill that is slowly but surely accelerating? Why does your bank balance feel like sand slipping through your fingers, no matter how hard you squeeze? The truth is uncomfortable. Feudalism didn't die. It was simply upgraded. It moved from the muddy fields of the 14th century to the fiber optic cables and central bank ledgers of the 21st. You are no longer bound to a piece of land by a royal decree. You are bound to a system of debt by a digital score. You aren't working for a lord in a castle. You are working for an algorithm and a monetary system that harvests your time, your energy, and your future. Welcome to modern feudalism. To understand how you are being robbed, you must first understand what money actually is. Money is not paper, nor is it a number on a screen. Money is a battery of human time. When you work 8 hours, you are charging that battery with your life energy, the only truly finite resource you possess. You expect to use that stored energy later to buy someone else's time or goods. But since 1971, when the last link to reality gold was severed in what we call the Nixon shock, money became fiat. It became an IOU, issued by a central authority, backed by nothing but a promise. This is where the alchemy begins. When the system prints more currency, they aren't creating wealth. They are diluting the charge in your battery. This is inflation. Imagine you are a medieval peasant who worked all summer to store 100 bushels of grain for the winter. One night, the Lord sneaks into your barn and replaces 10% of your grain with sawdust. You still have 100 bushels, but you can only feed your family for 90 days instead of 100. That is exactly what your central bank does every year. This is time theft. They are stealing the hours you worked in the past by reducing what those hours can buy in the future. In the old days, a lord had to send knights to take your grain. Today, they do it via a keyboard in a glass tower. You don't see the knights, so you don't realize you're being raided. Every 2% inflation target is a 2% life tax that you never voted for. Over a lifetime, this compounded theft ensures that you can never truly retire from the system. You are kept in a state of perpetual work just to maintain your current position. But it gets darker. Inflation doesn't hit everyone at the same time. This is known as the Cantillon Effect, named after Richard Cantillon, who noticed that the person closest to the king gets the new money first before prices rise. By the time that money reaches the baker, the carpenter, or the office worker, prices have already skyrocketed. In our modern feudal era, the lords are the big banks and the massive hedge funds. When the central bank prints trillions, these institutions receive that liquidity at 0% interest. They use this fresh money to buy up real-world assets, land, houses, and stocks. By the time that money circulates down to you in the form of a tiny wage increase, the price of a home has already doubled. This is a systematic redistribution of wealth from the bottom to the top. It is a silent coup where the working class is forced to subsidize the investment portfolios of the elite. You are essentially paying for the very chains that bind you. While you are struggling to pay for groceries, the new aristocracy is using your devalued currency to buy the world around you. They are not smarter than you. They are simply closer to the printer. In a system of modern feudalism, proximity to the creation of money is the new noble birthright. The core of original feudalism was land ownership. The lord owned the land. The serf rented the right to exist on it. Today, we are witnessing the birth of neo-manorialism. Have you noticed the shift in our economy? You don't own your software, you subscribe to it. You don't own your music, you stream it. You don't own your car, you lease it. And most dangerously, you are being priced out of owning your home. Institutional giants like BlackRock and Vanguard are the new dukes and earls. They are buying up thousands of single-family homes at prices no working-class family can match. They don't want to sell them to you. They want to rent them back to you. They want to turn the world into a subscription society. If you own nothing, you are dependent on the system for everything. In the 1950s, a single earner could buy a house on a 3-year salary. Today, it takes decades of dual income debt. This isn't a supply issue, it's a financialization issue. The system floods the market with cheap printed money, which pumps up the price of assets, while wages remain stagnant. Those who own the assets get richer without lifting a finger, while those who work for a living find the ladder of ownership being pulled up just as they reach for it. The Great Reset slogan, "You will own nothing and be happy," is the most honest statement the ruling class has ever made. It is the blueprint for the new manorialism. A world where you are a permanent tenant of your own life, paying a rent to the system for every breath you take. When you own nothing, you have no leverage. When you have no leverage, you are a subject, not a citizen. The final stage of this evolution is the integration of your economic identity with social control. In the past, if a serf ran away to the woods, he was free. Today, there are no woods left to run to. Every transaction you make is tracked. Every move you make is recorded. And soon, every cent you spend will be programmable. With the move towards central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, the system is preparing the ultimate cage. Imagine a currency that has an expiration date. Spend it now or lose it. This prevents you from ever building true long-term wealth, or a currency that can only be spent on approved items. If your carbon score is too low, perhaps you can't buy meat this week. If you attend the wrong protest, perhaps your digital wallet is paused. This is techno-feudalism. It is the total fusion of the state and the bank. In this system, wealth is a privilege granted by the Lord, not a right earned by the citizen. We are moving toward a world where your access to your own labor depends on. Now that you see the gears of the machine, the question is, how do you stop it? The system relies on your ignorance, your debt, and your participation. The first step to freedom is definancialization. Stop playing their game of mindless consumption. The most radical thing you can do in a society built on debt is to be debt-free. Second, understand the difference between currency and money. Currency, the dollar, the euro, the lira, is a tool of the state to redistribute wealth. Money, gold, silver, land, and decentralized, non-printable assets is a tool of the individual to preserve value across time. To survive modern feudalism, you must exit the fiat paradigm. You must own things that cannot be printed, deleted, or expired by a bureaucrat. Third, invest in sovereignty. Your greatest asset is your ability to produce value outside of the corporate grid. Skills, community, and local networks are the black markets of the future. The system wants you isolated and dependent. Freedom requires you to be connected and self-reliant.